What up, girl?
Good evening.
You look just delightful. I really like what your hair is doing tonight.
Thank you. I took a straightening iron and turned it into a curling iron.
Ah,
You know when you sort of like swoop it under?
yeah.
Yeah, I did one of those little shenanigans.
It looks really good.
Thanks.
I'm gonna black crop top because I'm changing it up.
Girl,
But on the flip side,
I had to be there with you.
yes, I love it. We have
This is
such
my
a
black crop top.
so similar.
Yeah.
God,
I'm
talk to me about your outfit.
well, I'm in an Edwardian parlor.
Same.
I couldn't same. I couldn't wait for October, so I was like, is it Angelica Houston portraying Morticia season yet? And I just decided that it was. So
That's my Morticia. No, you know who my Morticia is, and
Who?
this is controversial yet brave. I saw the Broadway preview of The Addams Family in Chicago before it went to New York, and BB Newworth was Morticia.
BB. I don't know BB.
BB Newworth, Chicago. She's on Frasier. She's his like ice queen of an ex-wife.
Oh,
She got her start on Broadway. I think her main role was Chicago.
Oh my god.
And
Whom did she play?
I don't remember
Vera?
the murderer one. Wait, what's her name?
They're all murderers.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes, Vera. Yeah.
Oh my god, BB Newirth. You're gonna Google BB Newirth after, yeah. So super big Broadway star, and she was in a
the life you're living. Yeah, it's the whole show. Pop, six, squish. Yeah. All right. Well, let me show you a little bit about the gown.
Just show me a little bit about the gown.
Let me just show you a little bit about the gown. Could you imagine? So it is a sort of Victorian. Edwardian. I'm sorry, Edwardian. Oh my god.
Jesus, get out.
What's wrong with
Get
you?
out.
So it's an Edwardian embellished tulle with some nice embroidery and a very billowy balloon sleeve, long cuffs with buttons. So you really just look like you can step off of a train and into sort of a murder mystery. You know what I mean?
Yes, that is good for a murder mystery on a train.
Yes.
Like that.
Oh my gosh, there's a body in the billiards room.
I love it, and I love the necklace with it. I think that's like for that high neck, it's what do you wear?
For that high neck, yeah, you gotta do something to cover up that cleavage.
In Cleveland.
Not in 1906. So this is my favorite set of costume jewelry. This is a Sarah Coventry set called Celebrity. And back in the day, you could only get this if you sold above a certain amount of costume jewelry. But apparently a lot of people were doing this because you can get these sets all over Etsy of the Sarah
Wait a minute.
Coventry.
So is this kind of like the Mary Kay of costume jewelry?
Exactly. So this whole concept of trunk shows, you like bring in a trunk into somebody's living room and you sell them like makeup or costume jewelry or whatever. Like women were real bored not having rights, I guess. But they would sell this jewelry, and then if you sold enough of it, you could get a pink car, or you could get a special exclusive set of jewelry,
That is fabulous. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, cool. That's awesome. So that's where that's from. Well, it looks really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's there's a bit of a nip in the air, which is, of course, nothing to worry about compared to what you have to contend with down there, girl, but... But, just like check in every once in a while, let me know you're okay. You know what I'm saying?
Girl, I'm good. I'm flying out tomorrow. Hopefully I'll make it out.
Yeah, I sure hope so. You are. Yeah, it's a race against the clock.
I know. But it's fine. It's just rain right now and like pop-up tornadoes.
Oh, I think you should get in a truck with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, and you should just go Twister across the countryside. You know what I mean?
Oh my god. Can we talk about that movie? What year did that come out? Hold on, I gotta Google it.
Oh, I don't know, 90, 91? 92? Thereabouts?
Because I have a memory of seeing it and thinking it was a horror movie.
Oh, it is. It is a horror movie. If you're a child and you've never seen a tornado...
Yes.
It's horrific.
There was always like people trapped under shit. Yeah, 96. Yes. I was 11.
Okay. I was a little early. But yeah, cows flying through the air, just like
bodies under like wood and debris.
debris. Yeah, and I think it was kind of a forerunner of the trend that was just after that period, which was like apocalyptic sci-fi.
Oh, Armageddon. Did you see the thing about NASA nudging the asteroid yesterday?
No, they did. What did they do?
Are you serious?
Could you get out of the way? No, girl.
Yeah, so NASA was trying to, there's 2 asteroids that were passing close enough, and one was orbiting the other one.
And they took the 2 asteroids, and they went, mwah.
And they just... So they sent like a satellite to smash into the little one to see if it would throw the orbit off of the big one to like test out if there's an asteroid coming to Earth.
Oh, I almost feel bad for that poor little asteroid.
I know, me too. Also, I think it worked. But more importantly, like, just send out Bruce Willis. I don't know why we're still doing this.
Why are we talking about this? He hasn't retired. He's still available. He's doing like Red 5. Retired and dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yes, so I would like that. But what are you drinking tonight, girl?
Oh, what do you think I'm drinking? It is, spoiler alert, it's a Manhattan. If you're new on this channel, it is pretty much the only thing I drink.
So I love that. You know why I love the Manhattan? Because I love the glass it's served in. It looks like I'm drinking whiskey, but I'm actually drinking an Ohio Stone Fruit on the Rocks.
Oh, lovely. I didn't realize it was that dark.
Yeah. So it's a delicious.
Yeah. Dish cam.
Dish cam on my vodka.
I know. Remember cooking? We still have to break out the dish cam every once in a while. I love that glass. I love that glass. You got that at a CCADR fair, didn't you? It's delightful.
I surely did.
Yeah.
So, girl, what are we dishing on tonight?
Tonight we are talking about lip service, which one of us is giving you and one of us is not.
And one of us was busy.
One of us had time to put on a gown, but not to beat her face.
I had to make a choice.
Yeah.
I was like, Edwardian gown or Laura Mercier travel lipstick because I got it for free at Sephora with points.
Or Estee Lauder. Jennifer Coolidge.
We're talking lip service pretty much. We're talking about the things people say. What does lip service mean, Eileen?
Well, I looked it up on etymology online, and it said that the original attestation was about services that were proffered but not provided. And I just love that expression. So it's when you talk a lot of talk but you don't follow through. So,
love it. Love to know the definition, don't love it in general.
No, don't generally love the concept, but I'm interested as we begin to dig into, unravel this topic, I'm interested in the reasons why someone may have gotten themselves in that situation in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, where did that come from? Did it come from fear, insecurity? I think this would tie into some other topics that we've recently talked about on this program. You know? Remember when we talked about confidence?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think there's 2 types, right? I think there's the type of lip service where you know you're being disingenuine, and then I think there's another type where you are maybe being aspirational and trying to put your best foot forward in a situation, and then it turns out that person's in your life for a longer time or the situation changed, and you kind of are like, oh, actually, well, that was aspirational. That's not where I am. Yeah.
You had maybe good intentions, so let's talk about good intentions. What does good intentions... well, first of all, what does it mean? And second of all, what's the difference between good intentions and a trust relationship? You know what I mean? Because there's a difference there. And I am willing to be, like, good-natured and forgiving and whatever, but it's like, I just want to know what to expect, because if something is said but then not followed through on, then it's like, well, what about the next time? What does this do for the amount of trust that I can hold for this relationship moving forward? Tough questions.
It's hard for me with intentions because I say this all the time, so get ready for this again. But like, intent doesn't negate impact.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's really nice when people are like, "Oh, I didn't," you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were talking about this particularly in the concept of like non-monogamy or oh my gosh, I almost said polygamy, polyamory, not polygamy. This is if I'm sorry, if you're looking for Mormons, you're on the wrong channel.
It's a tricky distinction. It'll get you. You gotta watch out for that one.
But for folks who I was talking to a friend of mine who's living in a different country right now, and she's like, in the city, she's like, everyone's poly, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. Like you are also, so you're great, and
yeah,
she's just like, yeah, but I don't know.
And also you are, so
I don't know if it's this thing where it's like everyone is, and we were talking about like theory versus practice. So,
yeah.
As an identifier or as a practice, what are you? Like, do you identify as poly or do you practice polyamory? And I think that's different. And it's like the intention, though, I've met people that are like, oh, I'm non-monogamous. And I'm like, oh, that's a really nice thought. Like, I hope that keeps you, I hope you wrap it around yourself like a blanket in bed at night. But are you practicing?
Mm-hmm.
Have you practiced? Do you know what that feels like? Do you understand the emotional vulnerability? Do you understand it's like 98% processing and like 2% sex? Like, what is like what? And that's a good percentage, right? What?
I think so.
Like, right? And then does it matter if they're like, oh, I'm poly, and then you get in a thing, and it's like, oh, are you poly, or are you relationship auditioning, which is we will define later.
Yes. I love 98% processing and 2% sex because I'm very tired, and so anything to just take the pressure off of actually performing would just be fierce. That would just be really fierce for me because I'm just trying to, we talked about it before, girl, I'm trying to commit to doing less. I'm trying to phase myself out. I'm trying to delegate.
I'll drink some Pellegrino to that. You gotta stay hydrated in a hurricane/tornado.
I'm trying to delegate. Can I just wear a gown and lay there? Because that's my wheelhouse.
I'm polyamory. I'm trying to delegate.
I'm trying to bring in others to support what I got going on.
I need buttresses. I always love that word.
Buttresses. She puts the butt in buttresses.
I say that sometimes. I'm like, this is gonna buttress our work. And everyone's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, it makes sense. It's building and supports.
I know, I'm building, but I just picture like cathedrals. Anyways, my childhood was great. So.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of things that'll get you.
Yeah. So, what do you think about intentions? How much weight do you put on good intentions in a relationship?
Well, it means something. I'll say that because good intentions is sort of like the bare minimum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have good intentions, we got some bigger problems, right? That's like red flags. We gotta reevaluate everything. We gotta find I was going to say graceful exit, but we have to find an exit. You know what I mean? Like, if there's not good intentions, that is a real steep roller coaster ride for me down to this isn't working. But setting that aside, if there are good intentions, or what I believe to be good intentions, then, like I said, that's the bare minimum. And that doesn't excuse or justify anything. It's just, okay, well, that means that we're able to continue the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel? Is that similar or different?
No, I think that's the same. I think, it's hard because I think it's less about it's never that clear cut.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right? Like what, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of to the point of like what level of self-awareness are we talking about? Like, for example, the relationship auditioning thing. So, I was talking with someone who was kind of like hypercritical of non-monogamy, and then we like scratched the surface. And it really wasn't about non-monogamy. Their issue actually was with monogamy. Figure that position, right? Their issue was with monogamy. They were cheated on in the past quite frequently. And they blamed non-monogamy because this person was like, oh, I'm non-monogamous. That's why it happened. And I'm like, no. Right. And is this an excuse for bad behaviors? And the same thing with folks who are poly. Are you poly? Are you living in multiple relationships, or are you relationship auditioning? So my relationship isn't working. instead of addressing the issues that all relationships have issues, breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to supplement and kind of figure out the rules of the road with your partner on that. But the other side of it is, no, I'm just going to invest in another 1 or 2 people to figure out who my next partner is. A lily padder, if you will, right? Like just ding, 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 ding.
A what?
Lily pad, like you know?
Oh my God! No, I don't know that at all.
I just made it up.
Oh.
Little frog jumping to lily pads.
Oh, a lily patter, like DDER.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
I like that. Like,
but you know what I mean? Like, but is that bad, right? So you know, poly people, they have like 3 partners, and they're like, "Oh, I met this 4th. Yeah. I'm jumping in first."
Right?
Are you? How do we get here?
Yeah. Are you just looking for an exit route? Is that what's really happening here? And that brings us back to the idea of good intentions. Is this really? Are you really saying that you are still fully invested in our relationship, in our in what we got going on, or are you looking for like an exit to this highway? Is that what this is? And that comes into honesty, which is yet another topic we've covered on this channel. It's like honesty and are they telling you the whole story? You know what I mean? This is difficult. It's a difficult one to figure out because sometimes the black and white, the right or wrong of it, it's kind of just down to how well are people talking in this relationship. Yeah. Are we speaking the same language, or do we feel like we're not really on the same page?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I have had partners who I genuinely think they believe what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not here to argue with anyone's truth if that's your lived truth, but if your actions don't match up with it.
Yeah, and like you said, that doesn't negate the impact.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, whether or not they mean well does not make your life any more manageable.
Right.
Oh, and you gotta live with yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah. I saw this thing, and I want your thoughts. And I hate Instagram relationship advice. I hate it. Okay, so like people post those memes or like you know your real friends are when the other person picks up your ferret, Jessica. Like it's just like really subtweety. Do you know what I mean? Like, who are you sharing this for? I don't know. I never understand people who share words on Instagram, and this is the hill I will die on. I'm just like, who are you talking to? Anyway.
Anyone and everyone.
Anyone and everyone, right? So I saw this thing about relationships on Instagram, and it was just like, you know, you can never compromise yourself. It's like if you're having a bad day and, you know, whatever, blah, 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 you shouldn't be expected to like compromise your true self for your partner. And I was like, isn't that relationships? Like, I'm not like dramatically, obviously if you're like clinically depressed, but like when you have a bad day, like I had a bad day today and I called a friend of mine whose family member has cancer, who is arguably having a worse day, I would say.
Not a competition, but I think that...
Not a competition, but if it was, I would lose, right?
Yeah.
And, this was yesterday. I also had a bad day yesterday, right? But in the conversation, right, you know, we were talking, and at the end she's like, so how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. We're not talking about me. Like, right, in any relationship, you make the decision of when you're going to show up, and sometimes the decision is made for you. But even in the opening about my bad day, it was like, oh no. And I think that's kind of all relationships and all friendships. And I think there's this movement right now, like be yourself and don't compromise and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, relationships, all relationships, romantic relationships, friendships are compromised. You know how many times I've driven to Miami in the rain for friendship? Girl, it's compromised. It's a long ass drive.
Yes. And also, I think one of the measures of success for a relationship or a friendship or a commitment that you're in, like if you're part of a group, whatever, belonging. Let's call it the measures of success for belonging. I think one of those...
some vodka on myself.
Oh, Butterfingers. Lip service.
Let me just
Sounds like you
could stir them together and try to have boobs.
You should like push it together and let the dew like run down and say, sounds like I could use some lip service.
I can't do that. I can do a lot of things in this world. I can't do that.
Sure you could. You're well on your way, baby. The stage loves you, baby.
Yeah,
where am I going tonight? I think this dress is taking me somewhere.
I love it. I love it. It's big, like Morticia Adams energy coming in.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the next Supreme in this dress. Like it feels powerful.
Yeah, it's the sleeves.
Yeah, the sleeves are very dramatic.
They're so billowy.
Yeah. So, anyway, I was going to say the measure of success for belonging, one of them anyway, is if you're being changed. Because I think our understanding of identity at this point in time in our culture is very much about individualism. It's about finding your own power and your own voice and your own truth and all of that stuff. But hey, what would it mean for you to belong by allowing that space or that group or that relationship to change you in fundamental ways?
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the good stuff. Because you can be in control of yourself changing to a certain extent, right? Like we change in ways that we can't control. But along the way, we can ask ourselves, I'm constantly becoming. I love this idea of becoming as a continuous verb, as a continuous action. Do I like the direction I'm going, or do I feel like I need to steer in a different direction?
It's like, this is like such a weird metaphor, but it's like a hurricane.
Full circle, baby. Full circle, baby. Tell us about Ian. How's the relationship with Ian going?
Honestly, it's been really stressful. It's been a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah. Ian,
but you know, it's like, they're like, it could go this way, but like one little, right? Like you make the decision, but the momentum keeps going. And I think people that kind of get stuck, right?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, this is the relationship. And I think, you know, non-monogamy and polyamory are more of like a paradigm. Like, do you think non-monogamy is an identity or a practice?
Oh, well, it's both. I think it has to be both.
So you're like, yes.
Yes, and. I'm always going to be the yes and girl. I don't like a binary. I don't.
I've never heard it.
I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't support her journey. No, but binaries are just like, it's too easy. Like, what are we leaving? What are we looking away from? What are we deluding ourselves by not considering? That's how I think about binaries. Like, heuristics it's very human for us to say, I need a rule. I need something that I can apply based on previous experience to current situations. And it's like, yes, and you need to blur the focus a little bit so that you can understand the pattern. But at the same time, you can't blur it so much that you're ignoring crucial information. Yeah. And that crucial information might be that this is an identity. Like, you can say, I'm non-monogamous, I'm polyamorous. But it's also a practice, which is, how are you doing that? Are you doing that? Right. And is the way that you're identifying with this term the same way that the other person or persons is identifying with this term? Oh, sorry. Are you doing it the same way is my point. Are you doing it the same way, and have you talked about it?
Yeah.
This is a central theme in our show, which is communication. You can't just talk about it once and be like, we're good. You know, this is how we're going to do it for the next 10 years. You got to keep talking about it.
Right. And I think that's the other piece of this where it's like, you know, it's hard because I think it's really trendy right now to say things like and be like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. And I have a queer friend who I absolutely adore, and she lives in Columbus, and she's like, I'm monogamous, and non-monogamy wasn't for me. It didn't go well. And I'm like, I love you for that.
Yeah.
I love you for that.
Yeah.
Because right now there's like, pardon me, not space. People are like, well, that's heteronormative bullshit. I'm like, no, it's not. Not if it serves you.
Yeah. Girl, I'll be honest, I'm moving more towards that space as time goes on, and honest and truly, it's mostly because the amount of resources that I have right now to devote to multiple persons is much less.
Yeah.
I'm like, Girl.
Scarcity mentality. Capitalism is a bitch.
Scarcity. Well, not just scarcity meant scarcity reality. I'm like, there's less of Eileen. You know you've read my memoir, Pieces of Eileen.
Oh my god, I would.
They're everywhere. The pieces are, and they're everywhere. And you know what? No one's gonna pick them up except this specter on the Widow's Walk. So, I need time. I need time. I need space. I love when Katya is like, "That's what I love about my free time. It's free. It's not given away. What do you want my time for?" It's so good. She's like screaming at nobody.
Right. That's just how it feels. But yeah, I think
that is how it feels.
I think is like, you know, your time and energy is it's different. You know what I mean? And I think like whatever framework you can survive in, I think it's just kind of like checking in on frequently. Yeah. Like, hey, is this still serving me? Yes, no, maybe so. Because I think like as we get older, our time becomes not necessarily more valuable, but I just think we're aware of how little we have of it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just Ian talking.
Yeah. I think I just saw the shadow of the Reaper over there on that wall.
Girl, when I'm in like serious pain, because I have like my back is all fucked up, I am like so like deeply like mortality.
Hey, mortality, fashion. Come over to this camera. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about it. Yeah. Tell me about it. And you're like, oh my God, you're Mary Kay of costume jewelry. So Nikki Winkleman, who is always at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio, so please check her out if you're ever at the Funny Bone, has this great joke about, remember those Pure Romance, those like dildos?
Oh, I sure do. Those $20 gel dildos that just will not, you know what I mean? Like they'll break in half.
Pure plastic, like Barbie.
Yeah.
But they used to like sell them at the trunk shows at people's houses.
Yes.
She describes it, and it's the best joke in the world. And she's like, it's like a Tupperware party for inside you, and it's like so good.
Well, that is the spiritual successor of that whole trunk show thing, you know? Like, oh my God, girl, can I tell you a brief story just to lift the mood a little bit?
Yes.
So I was hanging out with a friend down in Orient, Ohio, in a brand new cookie cutter subdivision. Yes, it's already terrifying, that face. So I was invited to a neighbor lady's living room wine party where this like cheap ice wine brought in a trunk, and all of the like neighborhood housewives and me were sitting in someone's living room trying wine. Nobody had a good time. For different reasons, right? A, the wine was not good. B, the kind of small talk that I do is not the small talk that the neighborhood housewives at the living room wine party do.
I would like to ask you, if you had to like pick a small talk topic that just comes to mind, first one.
Mm-hmm. The occult.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, how do you feel about demonology?
Right. Yeah. No,
Yeah. Because when I have a sensation, like this is who I am in my life now. By the way, I hope no one watching is surprised by this, because like this is who I am. When I feel like I'm not sure whether or not like the person that I am will be well received in a room, I go far left. I'm like, let's post the weird stuff on our Tinder profile so that people just swipe left and save a bunch of time. You know?
Yeah. I totally get that.
So I'm like, who wants a tarot reading? And they're like, you know what I mean? Like, who invited her?
And the ice wine is like syrup. It's so gross.
Yeah. Totally. It's like a color that wine should not be.
Yeah, it's like cat urine.
Yeah, it's either cat urine or it's hot pink.
Yes.
And spoiler alert, wine should be neither one of those colors.
How bad was your headache the next day on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, it was so bad. My stomach was in knots because of the sugar. So it was the sugar, it was the headache, it was the just the like, how did I end up there? Oh, I was with Shrimp Cocktail, and I love Shrimp Cocktail specifically in this moment because she went there with me. You know what I mean?
I love that for
If
her.
you need someone to be weird in your corner, it's her.
Wait,
So-
what town were you in?
Orient, Ohio.
Huh.
Yeah. Take the 104 down south, and then when you think you've gone too far, keep going.
Yeah, I don't think I will.
She had a sleeveless sweetheart, very much like this, but without the nude illusion tulle overlay. It was a sweetheart neckline, strapless jumpsuit that had it was like black with red lips. The print was red lips all over it.
Love it.
And I was just like, I'm here with her. What do you guys
Girl, I'm glad you got out alive-ish.
Me too. But you know what? Everyone left with just a tarot reading and lots to talk about at the
And
next
questions
episode.
about the horror of Babylon.
And questions about the horror of Babylon. Girl, let me just close out with this because I know we're getting close to time. I rewatched the burlesque dance scene from the movie Metropolis. You know Metropolis, that movie?
Yep.
Oh, it's so good, girl. It's from like 1927. It's a classic of the American cinematic canon.
Okay.
There is a burlesque act that happens in that, and I didn't remember that at the end of it she transforms into the Whore of Babylon. She's like she's like holding a cup and she's riding a beast with 7 heads, and I was like, how did I not remember that?
Oh my god, you gotta post it. Post it in the chat.
Get in the chat, Babylon. Yeah. Anyway,
love
I
the
think that's
word
really
Babylon.
healthy.
We love the horror of Babylon up in the space. Well, girl, this was a fabulous episode per usual. As we close out, remember, lip service can be a good thing as long as you're truthful and use protection.
Yeah. I have 0 notes. I have nothing to add to that, other than I love you so much, girl. And if you would like to see more of us, then I have great news for you. You can catch us Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Covered Dish. And
If
we'll
you're
see
ever
you next
wondering
time.
when we're doing a deep dish, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Beep.
Sometimes we have off-schedule deep discussions that last for up to an hour. So,
Yeah, we are chatty.
as always, let us know what you want us to talk about. Be safe. Happy
Bye,
spooky
y'all.
season. See you next time.